Video games push back against the Donald, and technology does too.
Oh, hey, it all looks so different.
What?
The set looks different when you're sitting down on the job.
Funny.
No, seriously, why?
Just a different look, and I had to with my top story. I'd go off.
Oh, because of Red America?
No, because of Orange America.
So, can we take political positions?
No, not really. If it was Villery, I'd be pissed too. It has nothing to do with my political beliefs and more to do with people being a bad human being.
Now that's not fair, calling him a human.
What?
Well, you can't expect a mango to be a human, really, even if it does walk and talk and have funny hair.
Good point.
Yep, I have a lot of those. Don't you agree? You don't agree.
And PETA says no more toys wearing fur on tabletop games. You're watching RAMtv.
Wait, do you really think I don't make good points?
If you thought video games stayed out of the hot shit storm that is our politics, you couldn't be more wrong. Well, sort of. Since Douche Nozzle Don, our country's commander-in-chief, signed his immigration ban, video game companies have been speaking out. Well, now, some developers are jumping on the bandwagon, hoping to mow Trump's ass over. For a limited time, proceeds from sales of several games, like Fez, are being donated to the American Civil Liberties Union. The ACLU is one of the top among the groups contesting the executive order signed last week. Fez developer Poltroon isn't the only one donating to the ACLU. Kitty Horror Show is selling a bundle of 7 horror games for $1, or whatever you want to give them. And Iranian developer Ink Stories is donating with the sale of their game 1979 Revolution Black Friday. This follows the pushback of groups like the association responsible for E3 speaking out. Of course, there's more than just video games pushing back. Even our once ruling country, Britannia, thinks we are walking a dangerous path. You know, I actually saw an article the other day about the Queen saying she could cut off Trump's head if he came to her country and no one could do anything about it. I mean, that story, of course, was from the Daily Mash, a satire site, but if satire news is good enough for Trump's press secretary Sean Spicer, well, it's good enough for me. Speaking of beheading, those interested in playing For Honor before its release date are getting another chance. For Honor is hosting an open beta February 9th through the 12th, with the full game releasing February 14th. The beta will include 3 game modes that were in the closed beta: Duel, Brawl, and Dominion, plus it will add Elimination into the mix. That's 4 of the 5 modes available in the full game. And like last time, the beta will have 9 of the 12 playable heroes. My guess, Ubisoft is doing a stress test, and that's just like them. Do a stress test so close to launch that there is no time to fix the servers of any issues. And if you're a PC player, Nvidia announced you can actually get For Honor or Ghost Recon Wildlands for free when you buy one of their select video cards. And you know, talking of video cards, if that's not a perfect segue to technology, then I don't know what is. So let's give Ray a call and see what he has in the tech world.
Before I get into this week's tech stories, I do want to say first that I am not sharing my political beliefs. I am not speaking on behalf of Aaron or Matt as well. However, the biggest story of tech this past week pretty much was the tech industry's response to President Donald Trump's ban on immigration and Syrian refugees. Tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, Lyft, and Uber only slightly, as some will say, disagreed with President Trump's executive order to ban all refugees for 120 days, especially an indefinite hold of Syrian refugees for the time being. A lot of tech companies do hire immigrants, and this was shocking to them. Of course, the CEO of Microsoft is of Indian descent, who is from India, and moved to the U.S. for education, for his education, I'm sorry. And as well as Aaron, I believe, Sergey Brin of Google. His family were actually refugees from the Soviet Union, so for him it was actually a very personal thing as well. Again, this is not me voicing my frustration or my approval of this ban. This is what was happening during this week in tech news, and this was the only story that really mattered. Yeah, there were some teasers for the LG G6. The Samsung Galaxy S8 was pretty much reportedly leaked by famed leaker EV Leaks, where the front of the phone doesn't have a home button anymore, it's all screen. But that really compels into comparison where pretty much the first companies to say no and to show disapproval of this ban was the tech space, and it's noted as well in other media outlets. And that's all I really have for today. My name is Ray Bolanos. Hopefully next week I can give you all better news that won't divide us politically, and just go back to reviews, updates, and planned releases. But I'll see you all later.
While it's not as saucy as political overreach into video games, how about some attempted activist overreach into tabletop hobbies? No, it's not an alternative fact, unfortunately. PETA, the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, have contacted Games Workshop CEO Kevin Roundtree, asking that all depictions of characters wearing animal furs be removed from any metal, resin, or plastic soldiers. In a blog post written by someone who simply goes by Dan on PETA's UK blog site, and I quote, "Nothing on the bloody battlefields of Warhammer's conflict-ravaged universe could match the terrible reality that foxes, minks, rabbits, and other living beings experience at the hands of the fur trade." For perspective, the Emperor of Mankind, the true leader of the human race, essentially, is a corpse that has been kept alive for more than 10,000 years by a combination of machinery and a daily sacrifice of over 1,000 lives. And that's one of the good guys, mind you. And that's not even getting into the actual individual units, who, without inundating you with specific models and armies, do any combination of skinning people alive and wearing them like suits, have their souls bound to giant machines of war so they can continue to serve even in death, and, my personal favorite, literally are forced to lay down and let the larger, dominant soldiers use them as carpets over otherwise dangerous terrain. Who's even wearing garments made from the boogeyman's handiwork, you say? Honestly, without going out into my collection and inspecting every single piece, past and present, to check, I'm pretty certain only the Space Wolves chapter of the Space Marines wear any animal trappings at all, and that's kind of their calling card. My point here is this. While I'm never in support of animal cruelty, PETA does not help their cause when they say and do things that are so detached from reality that people honestly assume they're reading an Onion article. It's hard for me to believe they have anything important going on at all, and aren't just clawing desperately for a way to get into the public view. Even washed-up celebrities know when to quit. No official response has been given from Roundtree or Games Workshop, presumably because they haven't stopped laughing yet. To many people, Ben Affleck's Batman was one of the high points of Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, a movie that, for all intents and purposes, was an astoundingly average film. Despite its shortcomings, it had the general public looking forward to seeing what Affleck could do, not just when playing The Dark Knight, but having director control for the upcoming The Batman. And just that fast, Affleck is no longer directing. In a statement Monday, Affleck said, "It has become clear that I cannot do both jobs to the level they require. There are certain characters who hold a special place in the hearts of millions. Performing this role demands focus, passion, and the very best performance I can give." Now, there's likely at least a moderate amount of spin in that, but it's hard to argue at the same time. DC really needs a home run if they want to even be compared to the titan that is Marvel's comic movie world, and that starts with a great performance. So, who's taking his place? While no official decision has been released, Deadline Hollywood reports that Matt Ross, who directed Captain Fantastic, and Matt Reeves of Planet of the Apes and Cloverfield are in discussions. Forbes also threw in a few names themselves. Gavin O'Connor, who directed The Accountant, Denis Villeneuve, director of Prisoners, and George Miller of Mad Max Fury Road. O'Connor may have a strong case, having directed a film for Warner Brothers already, and one having starred Affleck no less. If you want my opinion, and why wouldn't you, I remain cautiously optimistic. I'm serious when I say DC needs to make a boom. I don't mean Dad fell down the stairs boom. I mean that scene in Independence Day where the White House gets obliterated boom. More details on who actually takes over as director will come as we receive them.
Thanks, Zach.
You're welcome.
Well, we've almost done it. 1 year here at RAMtv. In celebration, I'm going to be doing a crossover episode with the IT career questions. That's my friend Zach Hill who runs that. We've done a shout out, but in case you don't remember, here he is. Again, we could not have gotten to this point without you guys. So again, a huge thank you to you guys for all of your support, all of your love. We love you guys a great deal. We could not do it without you. So continue liking, subscribing, and sharing. Those likes, those subscribes, those shares, that's what keeps us going. I love doing this. Let me just put it out there. I absolutely love doing it. It's my dream job to do video game tech and nerd culture news full time. And I couldn't even do this once a week without you guys' support. So again, thank you. If I haven't mentioned it before, the GoFundMe page we have, I know I mentioned that before, but the GoFundMe page we have, the money from that has been used to purchase the green screen you see behind me, the light kits that we use to light this. We couldn't have gotten there without that support, so a huge shout out to those of you who have donated. If you haven't and you want to, go to that GoFundMe page. We really appreciate the support. Donate whatever you can, $1, $5, $500, whatever you can. We greatly appreciate it, from the small to the large. It's wonderful to know that there's people out there who enjoy seeing this and who want us to keep going and are willing to support even financially. Make sure you join us next week to be brought up to date with your video game tech and nerd culture news. Do you, Ram?